in a microphone and I can't stop talking.
Oh, no.
I've only got about 10 pages of speech here before we get started. So, obviously the weather hasn't been the greatest the last day, so we really appreciate that you've all come out tonight. We know there's a lot of amazing things that you can be doing on a Monday night, and we really value that you've come to spend some time with us tonight, and we really hope you get a lot of good nuggets out of this event. It's called Your Next Move, Planning Your Best Transition Forward. Before we get started, just a couple of logistics. So I don't know if everybody knows where the bathrooms are. They're outside to the left, close to the coat check. And we got lots of food, refreshments, snacks. So please help yourselves because we don't want to be taking them all home and having to eat them.
We have takeout containers.
Sorry?
We have takeout containers.
Okay, takeout containers, yes.
Okay. I didn't know that.
And tonight is meant to be a relaxed, informal meeting. So again, if you need to use the bathrooms or anything, please help yourselves at any time. So we're going to get started. We have our first speaker. We have 5 speakers tonight, but we have our first speaker right here in front of me, my business partner, Rachel Kavanagh. And just to give you a little bit of background on Rachel, Rachel's been with RE/MAX All-Stars. I guess I shouldn't need to read this, right? Because she's been with our with the RE/MAX All-Stars Benczik Kavanagh Team now 5 years, 25 years. She grew up in Markham Village, currently lives there with her family of 3 kids and her husband, and her parents live in Markham Village as well. And
That's enough.
that's enough. Well, one last point. Living in Markham is obviously giving her, and working in Markham for 25 years, has given her a lot of in-depth knowledge on the real estate market so that she can share with all of us. So, Rachel.
Thank you, Leslie. Thank you so much. I echo what Leslie said when I say thank you very much for being with us this evening. It means a lot to us to see all of you here, and we will make sure we leave you with a lot of value. Each of the people who are speaking tonight, I'm going to walk through the agenda. We have Keith Nichols from Nichols Law, we have Paula Roberts from Dominion Lending, Shirley Coughlin from Downsizing Diva, and Crystal Mountain from Maude Interiors, who's going to talk about home staging. So you're going to get a lot of really great information from all of the speakers. We have a notepad on your chair as well, so jot down any questions that you have, because after we'll have some time for question and answers. And then we're always available if you have questions after this event, please reach out anytime. There's no pressure or obligation. We just want to really be here to provide value to you. And we really appreciate you being here. So it's not about selling homes. There's no pressure or timeline. It's about making you feel informed, prepared, and supported, whether right-sizing is something that you're thinking about now or you want to understand for your future. For many people, right-sizing isn't about space. It's about lifestyle, independence, and peace of mind. And I know many of you are in different stages, so that's why we use the word right-sizing. Some people are looking to downsize. Some people are looking to make a lateral move, but maybe at different locations. We're going to talk about some different ideas. And I know some of you are potentially thinking about upsizing too. So this is for you. You're in the right spot, regardless of what you're thinking. And I'm going to cover the emotional side of right-sizing, timing the market, lifestyle options, like where to go, and then we're going to get into those expert speakers. So emotional side of right-sizing is something that we don't often talk about. It can get overlooked. A home holds a lot of memories, like raising children, holidays, milestones, grief, joy. So deciding to leave it can feel deeply personal. When people say, I'm thinking about right-sizing, they're often saying, I don't want to lose my independence. I don't want to burden my children. I'm not ready yet, but I know I need to start thinking about this. Feeling overwhelmed, conflicted, or stuck is completely normal. Our role as realtors isn't just about real estate. It's about guiding people through those meaningful life transitions with care and respect. Right-sizing is often misunderstood as giving something up. In reality, many people experience gaining something back, like time, flexibility, energy, peace of mind. Right-sizing isn't about shrinking your life. It's about aligning your home with the life that you want now. So common fears we hear are, what if I regret it? What about all my things? And I look forward to hearing from Shirley especially about that. I don't want my kids deciding for me later. I don't know where to start. These aren't red flags. These are signs that you care deeply about making thoughtful decisions. Starting doesn't mean listing your home. Sometimes it simply means gathering information. So I'm really glad that you're here tonight. I want to share a brief story about a recent client who contacted us. They had a really full house. And when they first came to us, they felt completely overwhelmed. They knew that they didn't need the space anymore, but the thought of sorting through decades of belongings felt paralyzing. So we didn't start with selling. We started with a conversation. And often we have families involved in those conversations, and we help them take step by step, one decision at a time, walking them through what truly mattered, coordinating packing support, staged their home thoughtfully, and guided them through the entire process. After the move, they told us something that really stayed with us. I feel lighter. They were relieved knowing that their children wouldn't one day be left sorting through everything during a difficult time. And instead of caring for space they didn't need, they now have freedom to travel, time for what matters, and peace of mind. Right-sizing didn't take something away, it gave something back. A common question we get is, when is the right time to make my move? So timing the market really matters. And the truth is, no one can perfectly time the market, but you can make informed strategic decisions. Traditionally, there's seasonal patterns in real estate. Spring and fall tend to see more buyer activity. Homes tend to show very well, and competition can work in the seller's favor. At the same time, these seasons often bring more listings, which can mean more competition. So inventory matters more than headlines. One of the most important topics is inventory. How many homes are available compared to how many buyers are looking? When inventory is low, as you do tend to see in these months of January, February, that's when buyers have fewer choices. Well-priced homes can stand out, and quieter markets can actually benefit right-sizers. So you also want to think about timing the market versus timing your life. One of the most important things we tell clients is the best timing is when the market and your life align, not when one is perfect and the other isn't. And planning early creates these options, and options give you control. So obviously there's many different types of properties that you can consider. Condos, in the top left corner obviously is a condo on Main Street, Markham. Advantages are minimal maintenance, elevators, security, and amenities, a lock and leave flexibility. It's ideal for travel, peace of mind, social connection without responsibility. For many people, condos offer freedom without isolation. On the top right corner is a property at Wyndham Gardens, which is 100 Anna Russell Way. It's close by here. That's a life lease. I'm not going to go into details of life leases, but they are types of properties that we can explore. And they're practical options if you want a long-term residence, an exclusive right to occupy a suite in a 55-plus community. Smaller townhomes or homes are also have advantages, like they still feel like a home with garden options, have outdoor space without major upkeep, familiar lifestyle with fewer demands, easier emotional transition. This is often a gentle step, not a leap. And a lot of people talk about moving to rural properties, so smaller towns or even their cottages. And advantages are obviously a slower pace and nature and quiet, strong sense of community. It's a very lifestyle-driven choice. Some important considerations are healthcare accessibility, winter travel and maintenance, like we're seeing now, and distance from family and services. But it can be a wonderful choice when made thoughtfully. There's no right answer, only what's right for your life. And many people that we work with choose to move outside of the GTA. If they're semi-retired or retired, this can be a wonderful option to, get more bang for your buck, let's say. So locally, we do see people moving to those types of condos or townhouses or bungalows or life leases. And staying local, you're just changing your home, not your lifestyle. But others see an opportunity for a lifestyle shift. So moving further out to areas like Niagara, or Kingston, or cottage country can open the door to a slower pace, more natural surroundings. Niagara, for example, offers walkable towns, wineries, healthcare access, strong sense of community. Kingston blends historic charm with excellent medical facilities and a vibrant cultural scene. And cottage country appeals to those who want that peace and space and nature without giving up comfort year-round. So I don't know if our team members want to come up. So we have on the Benczik Kavanagh real estate team, we have Leslie Benczik, Kim Amato, Deborah Ambrose, Will Pennington, Nilufar Zabalipour, Valerie Hazel, Joseph Sanzo, and Mabel who you would have seen when you came in. I just wanted you to see the members of the Benczik Kavanagh real estate team, because we'll be here after and you can reach out to any of us anytime. And a successful right-sizing experience isn't about speed or pressure. It's about planning, patience, communication, and support. Sometimes our role is simply to listen and provide clarity, even if no move happens for years. So if there's one takeaway from our part today, I just want to say right-sizing doesn't have to be overwhelming and it doesn't have to feel rushed. You deserve to make these decisions with dignity, clarity, and support. And if you have further questions, please come and see us. Thank you for trusting us to be here tonight.
Okay, thank you, Rachel. Great job. Our next speaker is Keith Nichols. So I'm going to welcome him up, and as he comes up, I'm going to just introduce him a little bit. So Keith Nichols is a partner at Nichols Law Professional Corporation. His father and now business partner, Graham Nichols, started the firm more than 30 years ago. Keith has been in practice for more than a decade in Markham, specializing in the areas of real estate transactions, estate planning, estate administration, and corporate commercial law. Please welcome Keith Nichols.
Thank you, Leslie, and thank you to the Benczik Kavanagh team for inviting me here today to speak. It felt very formal walking down the middle of the aisle. I already got married, I don't need to do it again. Anyways, as Leslie had said, my name is Keith Nichols. I am a lawyer. I maintain my practice over on North Main Street. We're just around the corner, or maybe 10 minutes around the corner. So I'm going to be here today talking to you and providing you with the legal perspective of the right-sizing journey. So I'm going to try not to get too technical, and I'm going to try and give you a few points or considerations that you might want to keep in mind as you go through the right-sizing journey. And again, this is from my perspective as a lawyer. The slides that I'm going to go through are really based on common questions that we get asked by our clients. So hopefully you find some of this interesting. Okay, what are we going to cover? I've broken my presentation down into sort of three distinct areas. What should we be doing pre-planning? I'm thinking about right-sizing. What do I need to get ready? What do we need to be doing when we're in the middle of things? What can you expect? And then what are some of the considerations after I've completed the process? So those are the things that we're going to cover. Okay, you're thinking about right-sizing. There's a lot to consider, but you're going to be asked some very specific questions and for some very specific information. And so I've tried to provide you with a general summary of what are the things that I'm going to be asking my clients for when they come to me and they say, I need help in selling my home. So first and foremost, your title deed. I've got this on the list here, but actually you might be surprised to know that I don't really need it. I get asked this often, but all title deeds are now electronically stored. If you have it, great. If you don't worry about it. They used to be these sacred original documents that everybody kept in safes, and they lost them all, and the government decided that wasn't a good idea, so now we just electronically store them. Next, government ID. This may seem obvious, but considering how many conversations, I think, okay, Joseph, yeah, thanks. Considering how many conversations I've had where people just don't have valid ID, your realtor is going to ask for ID, your lawyer is going to ask for ID. I can't accept a health card. If your driver's license has expired and your passport has also expired, go and get the provincial ID from Service Ontario. It's a purple card, it looks like a driver's license. You're going to be asked for government issued photo ID. Property tax bill. We're going to need this for a very technical thing that your lawyer is going to do. We're going to be adjusting property taxes. Property survey. Again, something that we're often asked, do you need my survey? The answer is no, not really. That is, of course, unless the agreement of purchase and sale provided that you were to provide a copy of a survey to your buyer. What I would recommend is ask your realtor or ask your lawyer that if you think you have a survey, that you make sure it actually is a survey. I have seen many documents that were thought to have been surveys but weren't actually surveys. They end up being plans of subdivision. That can cause problems if you have promised to provide a survey. So again, if you have it, great. If you don't worry about it. Mortgage and line of credit information. If you're selling your home and you have a secured mortgage or line of credit, your lawyer is going to be responsible for discharging that. They're going to ask for that information. You need to provide it. And then lastly, power of attorney. So this item ties into what you're planning on doing during the process, and that is who is going to be helping you with the actual sale. Are you going to be the one interacting with your realtor and the other professionals, or are you going to be getting assistance from your power of attorney? If you're going to be relying on your power of attorney, you're going to need the original document. I, as a lawyer, can't work off of a photocopy. I need to see the original physical signed document. So if you don't know where that is, make sure you know. Make sure you get a copy of it, or the original copy.
Right on the last.
Sure.
This is an actual, last one now. How do you tell if it's an actual survey?
There will be a surveyor's certificate right on the document. Yeah, it'll be a stamp right on the document. It'll be.
And with regards to the power of attorney, can you, how do I put this? You can have copies made and then certified by notary public. Does that count as an original from your perspective?
For what it is that I, as a lawyer, need, no. A notarized copy will not be sufficient. I need to see the physical original.
Okay, fine.
All right, you made the decision, you're ready to go, you've got your documents. What are the next steps? You're going to call the people that are going to support you through this process. Shirley, I'm sorry, I don't have your name up here. I really should. You need to update the slides. You're going to be calling somebody from the Benczik Kavanagh Team. You need a realtor to help negotiate the agreement of purchase and sale. They're going to carry you through that first part of the process. Mortgage advisor. This is here in case you're transitioning into a new home. If you need financing, you're going to call somebody from the Roberts Group. They're going to help you with that. You need to, because if you need to arrange for financing, you need to start early. One of the biggest pain points that we're dealing with in real estate transaction these days are banks. And if you ask any mortgage broker or any real estate lawyer, they will tell you it's the bank's fault. Financial advisor, again, thinking ahead, depending on what your ultimate outcome is. Are you going to be moving into a property where that you're going to own, or are you going to be transitioning to a property that you're going to rent? What are you're going to have sold your home. What are you going to do with all of the money? You need to pre-plan ahead. If you have a financial advisor, give them a call. And then lastly, you need your lawyer. You can't forget about us. We are ultimately the last people to be called. That's very common. Just in terms of the most common process that I see, the realtor will negotiate the agreement. They'll end up with a firm agreement. That agreement will then be handed off to us and we will take it to fruition. We will take it to the completion. But you do need a lawyer to close your transaction. Okay, what's happening in the middle of things? A lot. And I'm not going to talk about the fact that you need to pack or the fact that you need to organize where you're going and all that stuff. I'm looking at this next part of your journey from what am I going to need from a client? What can you expect? Well, as simple as it sounds, I need you to show up and sign paperwork. Okay, that's going to be my job in order to get the transaction completed. Now, as a result of COVID, we can meet virtually, we can meet in person. Are you going to be signing? Is your power of attorney going to be signing? What I would recommend is that whatever choice you have in terms of which process you want to go through, tell your lawyer ahead of time. The verification requirements for meeting with clients nowadays is changing. It's becoming more stringent. It's very different if I'm sitting across the table and I'm meeting with somebody in person. I can identify that person. I can say I've looked at their ID. It's very different than if I'm meeting somebody virtually who's signing by way of power of attorney. As a lawyer, I'm trained to say, okay, red flags going off, what's happening, why is this person signing using a power of attorney? I'm not meeting with them in person. There's extra identification, verification processes that I have to go through. So whatever you choose, you've got lots of options, just communicate that to your lawyer. Okay, you sold. Now what? Well, hopefully you will have thought about that before we actually get to that point. Because after you've sold, you're going to have a whole bunch of things to consider. What are you doing with the proceeds? Are you using that to buy a new home? Are you going to be investing that? This is now an opportunity for you to look ahead to your estate plan, possibly update your will, talk with your family. Maybe you want to help family out. Again, something I'm seeing more and more common is mom and dad helping their children out. We've sold the home. We've moved into a smaller place. We have all this money. It's too expensive to buy real estate on your own if you're a young person. So we're going to help the family out. That should be taken into account right at the beginning. You should talk about that with your family. You should plan about it so that you know what you're going to do once the transaction is completed. Okay, last slide. If I can leave you with one thought, that is to be proactive. Plan, plan, and plan. Okay, involve the people that you trust, you in love. You need a team nowadays to sell real estate. You really do. Real estate transactions have only become more complicated. I feel like I'm saying that every year. It's only getting worse. I feel as though it's only going to get more complicated. And so you need people to support you. Involve your friends, involve your family, involve your professional advisors, and plan ahead. The more proactive you can be, the happier you will be. Because if you're not planning and something happens, a plan will be made for you. And if you don't like that plan, you may not have the option to write it. So talk to everybody, plan. And that's my presentation.
Wonderful.
So Paula is a local licensed mortgage broker. Her office is just here on Main Street, Unionville. She's been in the business over 35 years, helping homeowners navigate financing decisions at every stage of life. Along with her associates, Cameron Beaton and Derek Roberts, she's assisted thousands of clients with everything from downsizing and refinancing to more complex mortgage situations. She also specializes in helping first-time homebuyers. Paula is known for her clear communication, practical advice, and a client-first approach built on decades of trust and results. Please join me in welcoming Paula Roberts. Thanks.
I'm a good mortgage broker, I'm not a great public speaker, so bear with me.
You're a great mortgage broker.
Thank you. Okay. There. So we are, again, our office is was on Main Street, Unionville. We've actually moved to, we're all, everybody's working from home, but we are mobile, so we can meet anybody, or we can do it virtually as well. Cameron Beaton is here today, and my son is Derek Roberts. He's also works with us. So somebody's always available, and we're all licensed. We all know exactly what we're doing, so we can always be there to help you. We used to start with first home buyers. Was our specialty. Now, 35 years later, those first home buyers are now parents. Their children are buying houses. So the greatest compliment is when we get a referral back from people that we've done business with. So it's always a great compliment. And clients come back to us all the time because we take care of their needs at the time. For you to go into a bank and just suit into their products, it's not something that's best for you. There's so many different options that are available, and we find the right solution for your situation. So today what we'll cover is why we use a mortgage broker. Giving while living. A lot of people, elderly people, will want to use some of their equity in their home to help their children. It is so expensive to buy a house. Nowadays, a good down payment is probably what some of you have purchased your house for years ago. We talk about reverse mortgages. They're not for everybody, but they're a great solution if it fits your lifestyle. We talk about downsizing if you're mortgage free, and the benefits of having a home equity line of credit on a mortgage free home. So one of the biggest myths for mortgage brokers is people think you only go to a mortgage broker if you've got bad credit, if you don't qualify. That's not true. As mortgage brokers, we deal with every lender that's out there, including all the major banks. A lot of monoline lenders as well can give you better rates. Monoline lenders only do mortgages. So they don't have the bricks and mortar, they don't have the tellers. So we can get lower rates sometimes for those with those particular institutions. Everybody has to follow the Bank of Canada Act. They have to do the stress test. So there's lots of different guidelines that we have to look after. Our services are free. We get paid by the lender. In some cases, if we had to do private financing or some, to tweak it, there might be some sort of fee, but it's very, very rare, especially in the type of community that we're in. And again, we specialize in a variety of products, first home buyers, second home buyers, everybody. So we find this a lot of times is where clients will want to help their kids out, but they don't necessarily have $20,000, $100,000 sitting in the bank liquid. So they'll arrange lines of credit on their house possibly. Sometimes they'll want to do a reverse mortgage on their property, but it's better to decide what you want to do with your kids' inheritance now and see them enjoy their house instead of see them struggle. Because a lot of kids are, and I say kids, obviously we're talking 20, 30, 40-year-olds sometimes. We want to help them out. There's no tax on any of the gifts in Canada. You're allowed to give a tax-free gift to your child. And really, it's just pre-inheritance. I often say giving while living instead of guiding from the grave, because it's better to, you can't control it, but at least the money's there. You want to see your grandkids, be in a nice place and be able to enjoy it. So you can use your equity wisely. So reverse mortgages, it depends on your age, the property type, and the location. And 55% of the home's value can become tax-free to you. There's no monthly payments. You can decide to take a regular monthly equity out, like $1,500 a month, $2,000 a month, or you can take all of it out at one time. Now, obviously, the interest is accruing as you're using it, but you're not making any payments. And your house will never be less than what you owe. That's why they do the 55. You have to be at least 55 years old. It has to be your primary residence. And then if you've got a spouse, they have to obviously, they take it by the younger age. The interest is higher, but you're not making any payments. So sometimes it's a good option. Not for everybody, but we have definitely seen that we're doing a lot more, especially now with the stress test, because whether you're a 40-year-old making $100,000 or you're a 75-year-old just on pension, the lender wants you to qualify. The last thing they want to do is put you in a house or put you in a mortgage that you can't qualify for. So the other option, if you don't qualify, is getting a reverse mortgage. And we've seen people do these reverse mortgages because they don't want to sell their house. They want to help their kids buy something, so they can do a reverse mortgage for that. So clients who don't have a mortgage on their house, if you're going to be selling your property, you'll need a down payment or a deposit. So you'll need access to typically 5% on a deposit. It depends on what you're purchasing for. But lines of credit are a great way to get that. And this goes into what Keith was saying, is planning ahead. So if you know you're going to be selling your free and clear home and buying something else, you are going to need to have money to purchase that other property. And quite often what we'll arrange is a line of credit on the house you're selling, because you can use that money to purchase another property. And then while your house sells, or while you're waiting for the transition for the funds to come in, you're able to move into your home. So it's a nice way to do it. And they're very, very popular. Lines of credit are usually prime plus a half. Prime right now is 4.45, so the rate would be 505. In some cases, we can get a little bit lower. And the good thing about a line of credit, you only make your payments on the money that you're using. So if you have a $500,000 line of credit and you only use $100,000, you're only paying $100,000, but you've got access to that $400,000. And then, you know, if you decide to stay in your home, use your line of credit for down payment if you're going to help your kids. We've had clients who've done this exactly, and their kids make the line of credit payments. So the parents aren't still making money, but they're just borrowing the equity on the home. So there's lots of different options. Quite often it's a puzzle. We put all the pieces down together, and everybody's puzzle pieces are going to be a little different, but we find something that's going to best suit yourselves. So again, the value of a HELOC on a free and clear home is to have it for emergencies, is to have it available for anything you need. Once you're approved, the lender doesn't care what you use it for. Obviously, they want you to use it. Personally, I have a line of credit on my property, and quite often I can go without having any balance on it, but if I need something immediately, I've got access to that fund. I don't have to liquidate any of my investments or anything like that. So it's good to have. The other thing that's really popular is fraud. People who have free and clear homes, they think their house is free and clear, but you're attracted to a fraudster to put a lien on your property without your knowledge. If you have a line of credit registered on there, they're going to go to the next person. They're not going to defraud you and go into second position, because the HELOC is still a registered mortgage. A lot of times people think it's not a mortgage. It's still a lien on your property. It's a registered lien. But again, it deters anybody from going against your property. So it's always good to have some sort of lien on your property, whether you owe the money or not. Or takeaways and next steps. Like I said, everybody's a little different. You know, we can't paint everybody with the same brush. It's always a different scenario for people, whether they want to right size, downsize, stay in their home and give their children the funds. Everybody's got to do it that's going to best suit themselves. That's it. Let's see. Our pads are on there too, but quite often it's easiest if you just call us and we sit down and we can go over all the options with you. Okay?
All right, thank you, Paula. So next we have Shirley, and I'd like to introduce her. Shirley Coughlin is an owner of Downsizing Diva in Markham. She and her team help seniors simplify, downsize, and move with less stress and more confidence. Over almost 15 years, she has seen that decluttering isn't just about stuff. It's about comfort, safety, and peace of mind. Today, she will share some practical, gentle ways to make decluttering feel more manageable and even freeing. Her motto, treating you with care, compassion, and sometimes comedy. Please welcome Shirley.
You all heard that. If you don't laugh, you'll cry, so we may as well have some fun while we're doing this too, right? That's kind of how it works. Well, I want to say thank you to the team. It's so great to be part of an event like this and to get a chance just to talk to people about this whole process. So, Downsizing Diva. We have been, as Leslie said, almost 15 years now. We've been working with clients and their families. And most of our clients are moving from larger to smaller spaces. We don't exclusively, we will work with those who are going the other way too, which is fun. But typically the younger clients can do it themselves. So usually our clients are moving to smaller spaces. And this is typically how people feel when they even start contemplating the idea of either a move or decluttering, dealing with their stuff, because it's overwhelming. We've talked about that before. And the problem with it is that when people get overwhelmed, they tend to just put on the brakes. Nope, not going to do it, not going to start. And that's not a great thing, because life sometimes has other ideas. And as we've heard a couple of times mentioned here tonight, if you don't make those decisions yourself, sometimes something happens in your life and those decisions are made for you. I found out firsthand a week ago today that sometimes things happen in your life because I fell. As you can see, I had a nasty fall. I was helping with a client do a move, fell, and my face hit a planter I was carrying, and I got a huge gash across my chin. So fortunate though that nothing else happened. But that's how fast things happen in life. And so we're going along with our little plans in life, and sometimes life has other plans. So sometimes it's good to be prepared. So we're going to give some tips and tricks on how we can get started. So first of all, the thing to remember, we've got three things I like to talk about. First of all, we all have too much stuff. We have our own stuff, we have our kids' stuff, we have our parents' stuff, sometimes we have our grandparents' stuff. In the last, I'd say 50 years, maybe somebody will take a poll. How much bigger do you think homes have become in the last, let's say, 50 years? 1, 2, 3, 4 times? Any guesses? 3 times. I heard 3 times. Okay, right. So whoever that was, that's right. 3 times. 3 times bigger from the 50s to now. And that's not what do we do as humans? When we get more space, we fill it with stuff, right? So we have everybody has the same. So there's no reason to be embarrassed. Second is you can't take it with you. Now, now this is the truth. And not very many pieces of times you see a hearse with a U-Haul behind it. But the issue is clearly of physics as well. You're moving from a bigger space to a smaller space. You literally cannot bring it with you. So we're going to have to find some ways of letting go. And this is a really, really, really big one. Your kids and probably your grandkids don't want it. The number of times we hear, oh, I'm saving that because my grandson is at university and he's going to be getting his own place and he's going to need my pots and pans and blah, 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 blah. He doesn't want them. I can tell you right now, he doesn't want them. With very few exceptions. Now, there are some exceptions, and sometimes grandkids and so on may like 1 or 2 things of yours that reminds them of you and, they mean something. But your own kids sure as heck don't want them because they're trying to get rid of their stuff too, probably already. So anyway, those are something, the sooner these You just have to be honest with yourself, shall I say, as we're going through this process. So if we're going to let go, how do we decide to do it? First thing we have to do is understand that every item in our home we can give, excuse me, has one or two values. First will be the emotional value, heart value, the photographs, the things you got from your kids perhaps when they were small, things you've collected from trips over the years, all sort of those things that really mean something and hit you right here. Then the other side of the coin is the monetary value of something. There's a few things that's not, and that would be probably not what you paid for it, definitely not what you think it's worth, probably, or maybe what your well-meaning neighbor or friend tells you it might be worth. But what it is worth is the market value today. What somebody's willing to put their hand into their pocket, pull out the hard, cold cash, and give you the money for it. So if someone says, oh, that's worth a whole lot of money, I bet, you said, great, do you want to buy it? And see what they say. So the thing is, we try to not get these two things mixed up. Because if you get the emotional value mixed up with the monetary value, you're going to have some challenges as you move through the process. So something to remember as we go through. So we're going to ask ourselves a couple of questions. First of all, is it useful? Of course it's useful. It is a big turkey roaster. But a better question to ask yourself is, will I need this in my new lifestyle? I've already done the big downsize. I used to live in a big home, and now I live in an 1,100 square foot condo. I no longer do big dinner parties for more than 8 people, so I'm not cooking something that I need that for. I've offloaded that on my son. Thank you very much. He can do that now. So there are advantages to this right-sizing thing, I can tell you right now. So it's useful, of course it is. But to me, moving forward, it's not useful anymore. So every single thing you go through as you're starting to do sorting in your home, you have to ask yourself that question. Not necessarily that one. Not necessarily is it useful or was it useful, but will it be useful to me now or in the future? Another question we ask, you probably heard of Marie Kondo and all that stuff, but do you love it? And it's a really important question, not just kind of like, is it kind of okay and do I sort of like it, but do you love it? And if you do, then yes, let's keep it. But let's try and incorporate it into our daily life. Let's not put it in a closet, stick it down in wherever. Let's bring it out. Let's either use it, put it on display, but really enjoy it. So that's the 2 questions you're going to ask yourself. First of all, is it useful to me moving forward, and do I love it? And how do we start then? A lot of times people, that's why we get overwhelmed. We decide we're going to start with the attic, the basement. We haven't been in the room in the back for 25 years. And then what happens? We get overwhelmed and we stop. That's it. Too bad. We'll do that again tomorrow. Or next week or next month. And then the problem is we put off what could be a good thing for us, right? And then something happens, we have to move, and we're not ready. So what we suggest is start small, but start now. Set your timer for 20 minutes. Whoops. I think we went, oh. Okay, well, we'll go with coffee mugs. We're missing a slide, but that's okay. Okay, the first one was the utensil drawer, but it all works out, it's got the same process, shall we say. So, do we have any retired teachers? Nobody, no retired teachers in there? So coffee mugs, shall I say, is probably something that you're very well acquainted with. And this also has an emotional value as well, because every one of those mugs, you probably remember who gave it to you, all that sort of stuff. But first of all, what we're going to do when we're doing any sort of decluttering, we're going to take everything out of the closet. We're going to take them out, not just out of the kitchen cupboard, but maybe there's some in the dining room, and maybe there's some underneath that cabinet, and you know what I'm saying, all over the place. Get them all together in one place. when you go, oh my gosh, I didn't realize I had that many. So first of all, we're going to get rid of anything that's chipped, damaged, broken, so badly stained you can't use it. And then we're going to ask yourself the question, how many do I really need? And first of all comes into the thing, do I really love it? And if you really love it, well, okay, well, let's keep those ones. But again, we've got to hold our own feet to the fire and be realistic with ourselves about how many we're going to need moving forward. And then you're going to put the ones that are chipped and broken, throw those out, keep the ones you're going to love, put them back in the cupboard, and then donate the rest. Oh, here's the utensil drawer. Okay, so same concept. Take everything out, put like with like, and look at yourself and go, I really don't know how I got 6 spatulas, but okay, I do. And then you're going to throw out anything that's broken, first of all, and then again, ask yourself the question, is it going to be useful to me in the future? I always like to pick on the melon baller because for years, we all used to, everyone has one, right? I don't know why we have one, but we do. So, but do we need it? No, probably not. So that goes over here, right? But again, ask yourself, if I have 6 spatulas, do I need them all? If I need them all, okay, keep them. But probably we're going to find that we don't. So then we're going to take it out, we're going to organize it nicely, put it back in, and then next time you have 20 minutes, maybe we're going to work on the medicine cabinet. You're going to take it all out again. You're going to read the expiry dates so that you're not staggering to the bathroom in the middle of the night with a cough and you find that your cough medicine expired in 2006. Because trust me, it's happened. And again, so take it all out, use only what you want, all the same concepts, right? And then put it all back. Linen closet, same thing. All those sheets that you no longer have beds that fit them. There's probably a few of those people out there too. But again, the same process as all of them. Take it all out, organize it, put it back. And the issue here, if you can see what we're doing, is we are developing a momentum. So that every time you open that drawer and you look at it and you go, oh, because Rachel mentioned how much your client, how much lighter they felt. And this is a real thing. When you have everything, you open that cupboard and you're just like, it just feels so good. And you're going to develop that momentum so that now, next time you go around, you'll be maybe getting enough energy ready to tackle the crawl space, the attic, and so on. Okay, so once what do we do with all this stuff that we don't need anymore? That's another big thing. So we like to suggest to all of our clients that we are generous givers. So there's lots of ways to donate, recycle, and reuse stuff these days. One of them, we love thrift shops, of course. There's Salvation Army, Care and Share up in Stouffville. Then I always have to mention Value Village here. Some people don't like Value Village, but in the end, if I have an option between landfill and Value Village, it's going to Value Village because they truly will take almost anything that's not broken, especially furniture. They will take. They're one of the few charities now that will take furniture. Fabric and electronic recycling, we're blessed to live in Markham and Unionville that have the the blue boxes and so on, and so all that sort of stuff goes there. Makeup and medication. Medication can go back to your pharmacy if it's pills. If it's liquids and so on like that, it has to go to hazardous waste over robotic. But makeup, you can take it back to Sephora, MAC, all those places have a little place where you can put your the makeup that you no longer use. Animal shelters will love to get your towels and linens and things like that. Doesn't matter if they're stained, they don't care, because they're always going through them all the time. So that's another option. Markham Cycles, I don't know if anybody's heard of that, but it's a great charity that's run through the community centers, actually, and they will accept anything to do with bicycles. They don't have to be in great shape. And then they teach people to, what am I trying to say, to fix bikes and so on. And then have bikes, they lend them to people and all that sort of stuff. It's a very, very cool program. And then there's the nonprofit organizations like Habitat for Humanity. They're getting pretty picky these days. But the other great one that we love is the Furniture Bank. I don't know if anyone's, familiar with that, but they're out of Etobicoke, and they come and pick up the furniture, but they also, and there is a charge for that, but they also give you a very, very generous tax receipt. And all of their clients are referred to them by social services. There's never any charge to the clients. It's just it's a really good, feel-good way of donating your furniture. And this is the last big thing that we hear: can I sell it? The answer would be maybe. Possibly you can. Depends what it is. And there still are ways of selling. We first of all ask family and friends if there's anything that they might like. Antique dealers and resellers, we use them a lot. We have some very trusted partners that we can use, not just for, people can still sell Royal Doultons and silver. Hopefully, obviously it's better if it's sterling, but they still will buy plate. They can still buy collectibles and all that stuff, small pieces of furniture. But again, remember the emotional value and the monetary value. You're probably not going to get what you feel it's worth, but you'll at least get something towards it. Consignment shops are a good option. There's another great one now, a new one. Used to be called Millionaire's Daughter in Aurora, and now it's called Honey, I'm Home, which is kind of fun. And that's up in Aurora. Online auctions can be a really good option too. Mostly for someone who's trying to clear a whole estate, a full home, because there's also fees and so on involved with that. So sometimes it's better for you if you've got a larger volume and some really high value things as well, because there's also a fair bit of time and effort involved in setting it up. And then social media, not my favorite, shall I say. If you want to do this on your own, great. We don't suggest it for our clients because we don't like the security aspect of it. We don't like who the heck knows who coming to your house and haggling over. Sometimes we just feel the amount of hassle that it takes to sell something on Facebook Marketplace isn't worth the trouble, to be honest. But it is an option, and it sometimes works. So that's kind of it in a nutshell. So yeah, the one thing I would say, if you're going to go the antique dealer and reseller route, is make sure you know that you're dealing with a trusted resource. So either a friend who has used that person before, or through somebody like us who has trusted partners, because it can be a little bit like the Wild West out there still. And our job is to protect you and make sure, you don't get taken in that way. So the keys to downsizing, first of all, start small, but start now. Keep only what you use and love. Don't keep things just in case, because just in case equals never. It's not worth the space and so on, and keeping something maybe. Be a generous giver, and always, always, always consider your new lifestyle. That's it. We love what we do at Downsizing. That's the other thing I would say, is downsizing is something that's better done with a friend. Probably not a spouse, I would say. Because very often the spouses, we have keepers and we have tossers, right? We don't typically have two in the same family. So that's maybe not the thing you want to do. But find a trusted friend who can kind of hold your feet to the fire, right? And just kind of keep you accountable as you go through the process. And it's not as scary as it seems overall. Once you get that little wins and then you get the momentum, and then you'll be on your way. Here we go. That's a little bit about us, what we do. We don't just declutter, but we can also help you with all the, any or all of the facets around moving your home. So I hope you learned a couple things and maybe found out it's not as scary as maybe you thought. Thank you.
Thank you, Shirley. Now, that was my life flashed in front of my face listening to you there. And I don't know how you got the picture of my mugs. I got way too many. Our last but not least speaker for the evening is Crystal Mountain, our team's stager. Crystal is the owner and lead designer of Maude Interiors, a home staging and interior design company based in Brooklyn, Ontario. And they go everywhere, right into Toronto, further up north, east, west, you name it, they go everywhere. With years of experience working as an interior designer in Toronto, Crystal brings a refined eye for design paired with a strong understanding of the real estate market. Maude Interiors is known for its thoughtful design, efficient execution, and ability to elevate homes to attract buyers and maximize value. Crystal continues to grow the business while staying hands-on in both design and staging, always focused on delivering exceptional results. Please welcome Crystal Mountain.
Right. There's the little button. Yes. All right. Hello, everyone, and thank you for coming tonight. I was worried about the storm last night. I was hoping today was still going to happen. So thanks for coming. My name is Crystal, and I am an interior designer, home stager, and I own and operate Maude Interiors. So we are, like Leslie said, we are based out of Brooklyn, but I left here tonight. It took me about 18 minutes from Brooklyn to get here, so I drive fast. We service all of sort of Durham and the GTA East. We go up to Newmarket. We've gone out to as far as like we go to Port Hope. We kind of go everywhere, wherever the business takes us. Last year, I think we did almost 400 stages last year, almost did 400 homes. So we do a lot of volume. Last year, we didn't do as much as years prior, but it was still a good year, and I'm very optimistic for this year. So I'm here to talk about staging, what it is. I feel like sometimes, people think staging is just decorating and I'm putting in pillows, but really there's so much more thought that goes behind staging your home. It is not just making your house pretty, it's about making it functional so that people can really understand how to use your home, how to use the space, and if it's going to work for them. So what is staging? Staging is the process of preparing and styling your property for sale so that it appeals to the widest possible range of buyers and helps the home sell faster at a higher price. It involves everything from rearranging furniture, decor, lighting, everything, anything and everything, those touch points to make your home beautiful. So what is involved in staging? So usually when I go into a consultation, the first thing we want to talk about is decluttering and depersonalizing. I think Shirley did an amazing job at doing that, so I won't talk about that too much. But when people enter your home, they don't want to feel like it's your home. They want to imagine themselves in there. So decluttering surfaces and really depersonalizing is very, very important. So rearranging furniture and just putting in all of the personal touches in order to really make your home stand out. And why we stage. Of course, what is the purpose of staging? The purpose of staging is so that when people look at your home for the first time online, they are going to be like, I need to see that house. I need to capture them with those first photos. So I need to bring in the most amount of traffic into your home, which is ultimately more people, more offers, more money. So that is essentially why we stage. So there's a couple things with staging. We want to create a first impression. It's called the RISA. It's a Real Estate Staging Association, and an association that all of us stagers really live by. And they really give us all the information that we need, and the information is constantly changing. So when a buyer walks into your home, they usually make their decision within the first 30 seconds. It is that immediate. If there is a smell or something that turns them off, they are going to turn around and walk back out, or they'll walk through, but kind of have in their mind, what they're feeling. So for me, I always say the first 30 seconds are crucial. Not only with staging, but when I'm standing at the front door in those first 30 seconds, I want to make sure that there's no nicks on the trim. All the doors are perfect, are painted. We have good lighting. We really want to capture them in those first 30 seconds. So all of those maintenance items really, really need to happen at the beginning. We need to carry it throughout the home, but people tend to forget as they kind of go through the home. So when you are working on those maintenance items, really focus on the areas that people are going to be sort of looking at, but essentially that first 30 seconds, they're going to be standing at the front talking about your home. So why we stage? It helps buyers visualize living there. So we want to create a really neutral space. We want to have it very soft and very, nothing too intense for people to not visualize themselves there, essentially. So we bring in neutral decor, furniture, all of the things to really just make it feel warm and inviting. Beyond the aesthetics of staging, yes, we want the home to look good and look beautiful, but it's also about functionality. I always say, when people walk into a home, yes, they want to have all the feels and make sure that that's for them, but it's also about how to use the space. Is the furniture too big? A lot of times I find that when we go into a home, there's too much furniture, there's too big furniture, and it's really not showcasing your home. So really, for us, we want to make sure that we have the right furniture in the home that's really going to maximize the space. And also, staging, it highlights all your strengths and it minimizes your flaws. So I always like to say this example because it happens quite a bit. So I was in a home last week, and beautiful home, but they had so many different types of flooring in the home. You walked in, they had tile, they had parquet, they had a rug going. They had a bunch of different flooring, and it's the only thing I could think about when I was walking through the home. And I didn't want to say anything. I just, in my mind, I was like, okay, how are we gonna distract from all of the different things that are going on? And so what we did is we brought in a bunch of neutral rugs that were all the same, laid them all down, and when you look at those pictures and when you walk in, you don't even see it, you don't even think about it, you just see those light rugs and you kind of move through. So again, staging is more than just making the home look good. It's about really distracting from the things you want to be distracted and highlight the things that you want highlighted. And this is the most important thing to me. I always say, for me, when I'm looking at staging a home, I'm thinking about it from you looking at it from your phone. So those online photos are the first thing that people are going to see when they're selling your home. So we want to make sure that those photos are a 10 out of 10. Those photos look great. You're going to get the traffic and ultimately the offers, and that's what we want. So I'm always thinking about how those photos can look better. As we know, it can increase the sale price. Staging is marketing, and marketing your home is what we do. So it helps you stay competitive in the market. Everybody is staging right now. So to not have your home staged on the market, it's not gonna stand out the way you want it to. So why not, bring your home to life and really let us come in and just highlight all of those special parts of your home. So a few stats. These are always exciting, again, based on the Real Estate Staging Association. So stage homes spend 73% less time on the market than if it wasn't staged. Staged homes sell up for 23% more. Who doesn't want that? Average sale to list price on a staged home is 109%. Amount of offers increased to 10% more in staged homes, and your return on investment is up to 3,500% on the average stage cost for 3,800. So the stats speak for themselves. Stage homes are going to get you sold faster, and they're going to get you sold for more money. Yes? Oh, someone had a question. So our process. So I'm the one who does the consultation. We have a team of about 13, 14 people. Just hired a girl today. We have a team, and I'm the one who does all the consultations. So I will come to your home. We walk through the home, and we'll go through everything with you. I will talk about all the maintenance items, painting, all of those things that need to be removed, and sort of the plan and what to expect. After the consultation, within 24 to 48 hours, I will send you an email highlighting everything. It can get overwhelming. I don't expect anybody to remember anything that I'm saying during the consultation, because I do know that it can be a pretty stressful process. So I will follow up with an email highlighting everything. And then once you get that email, we do all the work. We are going to be putting our plan together. So I really work closely with my team on putting a plan together to execute your home in the best light. On the stage day, our team, the time that they arrive, stage usually takes 2 to 4 hours. We bring a lot of people. There's like 5 to 6 people on the team. So we try to get it out of your hair as quickly as possible. We're in, we're out. And then typically photos are that day and you're online. So yeah, just a couple before and afters. This is an occupied home, vacant, we do it all. Great. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you, Crystal. Okay, so we're going to take a few minutes and we'll have a question and answer period. If I could just ask the speakers to come up. And if anybody has a question, if you don't mind raising your hand, and we'll let you fire away. Come on.
Jay.
I'm going to ask questions about station. You're going to come into my house, you're going to move a bunch of stuff. Where does it go?
So, good question. So it depends what space you have. Garages, we are happy to put everything in the garage. I don't want you spending money if you don't have to. So everybody, like I said, everyone who is listing their home is marketing their home. Marketing is staging. Everybody who's staging is putting it in the garage. What I say, as long as there is a healthy path for people to walk through to see, when you're looking at homes, you're going to see it in a garage. That's it. Or basement, storage. I mean, if you have a ton of stuff, off-site storage lockers, anything like that. Calling Shirley, she's got a great list. And to that, and saying that, I also do work with movers. So if we come in and you need a couple things moved out, we can coordinate that as well. But really, don't want you spending money if you don't have to. But if you don't have the space, then you don't have a choice.
Okay, so the
Garage is absolutely fine. Yeah.
And I will answer that too. That sometimes that's part of what we do sometimes is working with you to facilitate the list that you have received from the stager. Sometimes obviously you can do it on your own, but sometimes you want a little bit of help. And sometimes what we say is if it's going anyway, like if you're not going to take it with you, then why don't we find a place to get rid of it now? Instead of putting it in the garage, the basement or whatever, let's try and do some initial sorting and get rid of it now so you don't have to touch it again. So that's our suggestion is too, as well. So, go ahead.
Okay, we have a question right here.
Paula.
Who at what stage would give you advice if the paint scheme throughout your house was not appropriate for current market?
That's a very common question, and I always talk to Crystal. So she's really,
Okay?
Yeah,
maybe
yeah.
go into that?
Yeah.
She's really the go-to for.
So, like I said, I am a registered interior designer. I did work downtown for many, many years until staging kind of took over my life. Paint, I'm very passionate about paint. That is honestly, if I go into a home, I prefer to have it completely decluttered and painted prior to me even coming in. But I will come in and give you paint colors. So usually we're going to want to pull like a really a warm light color, something that's going to work with your floor. So if you have a more orangey floor, I'm going to pull a different kind of color. So I did just put together my top 6 favorite paint colors for selling. I will send it to you guys and you guys can send it out. But yeah, I will suggest all of those. And when I do the consultation, sorry I didn't touch upon it more, but I'm going to look at your lighting. I'm going to look at your paint. I'm going to tell you honestly if I think you need to update your countertops, all of those things, all of those maintenance items, especially in this market. If you have sort of, if anything, if buyers will start to discount your home if you don't have it in tip top. So like if the countertop is cracked or this, or if it's not up to par, people will overestimate how much those things cost. So the countertop could be $5,000, but they'll say, oh, it's going to be $25,000, so I'm going to take it off the list price. So again, I do make sure all of those maintenance items are touched upon, paint, lighting, all of that, so that you get your max return.
Okay, so these things could obviously take time to get done, but it's interesting you mentioned the light warm colour, because just now, whatever I read contradicts what my daughter keeps on telling me about my colour scheme, because it seems to be going from the off-white, all grey, and now to some of the older traditional burgundy days, and it seems to be in a state of transition.
It always is, right? Design is in constant flux. I was just at the interior design show on Friday in Toronto, and it is a revival of like some 60s that are coming back. Like there is, and color and all of the things, but there's colors for living and there's colors for selling. So when you're living, yes, you can do greens and all kinds of colors, but when you're selling, you can't be that creative. We have to keep it really neutral, keep it so that it's focusing on the house, and we don't want to, and there's colors that will be distorted in photos. So that's why I like warm taupes, warm whites. Grays are kind of on their way out. Cool grays are on the way out. Warm grays are on their way in, but yeah, picking those colors that are going to look good in photos and in the home.
And that's a good way of doing it. Colour for living, colour for selling.
Yep, I sold 5 years ago, and I had black and white walls. I had black walls in my house. I had to paint them a warm taupe just to sell my home, right? There's things that make you happy in your home, but again, we're trying to neutralize it and appeal to the masses.
Thank you.
And I just wanted to add, depending on timing, so we can meet like even sometimes years in advance, right? From when you're thinking of selling so that you can get prepared. And Crystal's a wonderful resource. So how many times I text Crystal pictures and, what do you think? And there are some colors that are going to be pretty commonly used in homes for selling, right? So we can certainly kind of help you with that, even if you're thinking about planning for this in the future.
I will send that to you tomorrow, and you can send it out. So, and I have picked all my favorite paint colors and my reasons for it. So we'll send that over to you guys.
Do you have a suggested list of renovators that you trust?
We do. Yeah. Yeah, for sure. If anyone needs, we have lots of strategic partners similar to the people who are here right now and in the areas that they're experts in. We have compiled a list of handy people, contractors who can do like big jobs or small jobs. So we can share that with you. Reach out to us. Sorry, Angela.
Yeah, legal question. Can you add some to the deed? So we own the home, can we add our daughter to the deed, to kind of the state tax,
So the short answer is yes. You can add whoever you want to the title to your property. The deeper question to that is, what's the end goal? For what purposes? So if we're talking about adding children as joint owners under the property, we're typically doing that to avoid on estate administration tax and probate purposes. A common question that I get asked is, if I add my child onto a secondary home like a cottage, will I avoid the capital gains tax? The answer is no. We can't avoid the capital gains tax. But on the flip side, while you may be able to save on the estate administration tax, you have to balance that against, if I add my child as a joint owner onto the home, what am I giving up? And the answer is, you're giving up control. You now have a joint owner where if you don't get along, there's a breakdown in the relationship, you now have a third party who controls what you can do with your home. So it's a very layered question, and when we get asked that, I have a long list of questions. Why are we doing this? What do you want to achieve? But the short answer is yes, you can do it.
Is it complicated?
The process for adding somebody onto the deed is not complicated. The lead up to it, in terms of determining whether or not it's the right move for you, that part is. But the actual process of like adding somebody on title is not complicated at all.
Okay, thank you.
Anyone else? Jay?
I have one question. And this goes back to a while ago. 20 years ago, people were often, if they bought a home, they would buy something, and I don't not get the right word, but title insurance, such that if you assume the home and the person who's selling it is doing fraud, you're protected. Is that still a common thing for people to take out?
Yeah, title insurance is very common nowadays. It's been around for about 20 or so years. I do tend to recommend it to all of my clients who are purchasing. If you are getting a mortgage, you're basically required to get title insurance for the lender. And at that point, if we're buying a title insurance policy for your lender, we might as well buy one for you as well. While there's a long list of coverage for what title insurance will provide, fraud against or protection against mortgage fraud or fraudulent conveyances are sort of the biggest bits of coverage that we have. That being said, even if you don't have title insurance, let's say you bought your home more than 20 years ago and you haven't purchased title insurance, in Ontario we have something called indefeasible title. I'm getting a little technical here, but basically what it means is that if person A who owns the property has their home fraudulently transferred to person B, and we find out about the fraud, we can have that transfer reversed. You don't need title insurance for that. But if person B then transfers the property to person C, that's it, you're out of luck. And that's where title insurance would come in and provide you with protection. So yeah, I typically recommend it. It is around, it's very common.
Good question.
Another question, if I might.
Please.
This is about financing, mortgage, whatever you want to call it. Bridge financing. Is that like, the bottom line is, I don't know if anybody here can pack their loan, be gone in one day.
Oh, yeah.
Even my kids aren't doing that anymore.
Yeah, and you know what, bridge financing is relatively inexpensive because you've got a sale date and a purchase date, and that's the bridge. Where it gets a little bit more expensive is if it's interim financing. So you bought your house, but you haven't been able to sell your house. Mm-hmm. The banks won't do that. We can still get it done privately. But one thing to know as well, banks won't do bridge financing if you're not ending up with a mortgage. Because they're not going to make any money on you. And that's what it comes down to.
So for people like us who probably will not take out a mortgage, or conversely, a friend who did this, to go on your mortgage and make sure you pay it off in a year.
Yeah, so you could, if you were to...
Basically, the bank would loan him bridge financing, but he had full intentions of only holding on to their money for years.
Well, that's why that line of credit comes in handy.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. So recently I've got somebody who's bought a condo at the Hunt Club, and they're selling a property for 1.2, and they purchased for 600. They have no intention of having a mortgage when they sell their 1.2, but they're probably about 6 months before they can sell. So we're arranging a mortgage on the existing property, the 1.2. The mortgage is going to go on there. It's going to be a line of credit. They're going to be able to use that to buy the house for free, should be free and clear. And then when they sell their house, they'll be able to pay off that line of credit. So like I said, bridge financing is relatively inexpensive. It might be prime plus 4, so it might be 9%, but it's usually only for a week. I would never suggest anybody to move the same day. You might have a snowstorm like yesterday. It would just be a disaster, and it's very, very inexpensive in the whole scheme of things. Like it might cost you a couple $100, you know, so you don't go to the movies one night. Like it's pretty inexpensive.
For us, the last 2 moves have been corporate moves, so packing us up in London, move to Toronto, or vice versa.
Yeah.
So you've got 2 days. We always moved on a Friday, and moved in the Monday.
Moved in on Monday. Yeah, so it's good to have your ducks in a row.
My stuff for a week.
Right.
All we did was ensure that, make sure that the contents in the truck was properly insured.
Exactly. Yeah. Well, like I said, the lines of credit are a great option for that type of thing.
Good questions. Anyone else? Well, we are here for another 30 minutes, so if any questions pop into your mind, please help yourself to more sandwiches, or we'll have some takeout containers. Take one home, or ask us questions. We'll be here until 8 o'clock. Do you want to come up and say things? You're okay? Just want to thank you very much for being here. And thank you also to all of our presenters. Even I took down some notes, so I appreciate it as well. And I hope you got a lot out of it as well. And yeah, we're here till 8, and then we're always available if you have questions along the way as well. Thank you for coming.
Thank you so much. That was excellent.
Very good. Very good. I'm going to. Yeah. I get back.
I need a new kitchen.
Thank you.